99% of business owners I know spend 90% of their time on sales and marketing and only a tiny 10% on their offer. And then they come to me and they wonder why clients don't trust them and why no one's buying for them. And sales feels like they're pulling teeth nonstop. And I actually did this for years before I figured out the real problem. You see, when I started, I tried, like most of you, to sell full service everything, marketing, sales, because I saw other people in other agencies, especially the really successful ones, doing that. And I had almost no clients for months, zero. I was broke, I was confused. Marketing was impossible because I couldn't convert because I was competing against everybody who was doing it longer and better than me. And sales was like pulling teeth, trying to convince someone to trust me over these other guys who have been around way longer and honestly were better than I was. And then something happened that changed everything. We were running a big marketing agency and someone came to me and they said, I wish I just had someone to get me media opportunities. Voila, my marketing agency instantly, overnight, converted into Otter PR, a PR agency hyper-focused just on getting people media coverage. Not an entire marketing agency that does everything, a specialist agency. That one pivot changed my entire business and the entire trajectory of me as a business owner. Now, I'm making this video for you today because I teach business owners how to generate money online. And there's nothing harder, nothing worse in the world than spending all of your time and energy trying to sell something that nobody wants. Spending all this time and energy on marketing, building cold email systems, writing copy, on your sales and your back end, and it just doesn't seem to work. If that's the case, if that sounds like you need to watch this video because there's probably a simple fix. It's probably your offer. You're probably trying to sell something that either nobody wants or everybody else is selling and they're probably better than you at it. By the end of this video, this training, you're gonna come out of it with an exact framework for finding an offer that really works for you, that's going to convert, developing that offer, and implementing the offer. And I've got a presentation and a checklist to make sure that you get this right. If you get this right, I promise you, the sales, the marketing becomes easy. I've almost never had to work to sell my offers since I got started with Otter PR. Because once I learned this framework, how a good offer really works and the psychology of offers, how to deploy an offer, how to price an offer, guarantees, specific timelines, all the stuff that you're going to learn today, you can launch any product and I guarantee that you're going to win. And for all of my clients out there that think they don't need to watch this because it's for beginners, believe me, you do. Because when you come to me and saying, Jay, my reply rates are low. Jay, no one's buying my thing. How do I convert people from call to sale or from email to call? They're just not booking. They're just not showing. Well, if you're doing all of the other stuff right, it usually comes back to this. They just don't want what you're selling, and there's probably an easy way to fix it. So pay attention, tune in, and if you want the full checklist that's going to break down exactly what to do, that you can literally walk through step by step, it's gonna be down in the description. You can just download it and please use it. So today we're talking about how to create an offer that people actually want to buy. Don't be like everybody else who launches an offer because they see somebody else doing it. Oh, I'll just do an ads agency. Oh, I'll just do an email agency. Because yeah, it's easy. That's your skill. I get it. You're gonna try and sell that thing and hope that people buy it. And maybe you try and compete on price or compete on guarantees. But at the end of the day, you're still gonna end up spending 10% of your time on developing your offer and 90+% of time on sales and marketing and just trying to jam it down people's throats. And it's not gonna be something that they actually want. This is a famous quote by yours truly, by Lead Gen J. If you nail the offer, sales and marketing becomes so easy. So spend the time on the offer. Now, when you're just starting out, you're a baby entrepreneur and you're trying to make money online, maybe get out of your J job. At this point in your career, you've got one thing working at your disposal, and that's effort and time. So your first offer is probably going to be based around some sort of skill that you're either learning or something that you're already really good at. So if you've gone through my Lead Gen Insiders program, you're probably really good at generating leads, at cold email, at deliverability. If you're not already, go through that program. You're gonna become an expert at cold email, at deliverability, at online lead generation. Those are skills that you can turn around and turn into an offer. And there's lots of different ways to spin those into an offer. You don't have to start a lead gen agency. There's a big trick right there. Your skill doesn't have to be your offer. Your skill can help you develop your offer. For example, if you get really good at cold email, yeah, you can help other businesses generate leads. That's the obvious answer that everybody turns to as soon as they get good at cold email. However, it is not going to be the one that sells the easiest. If you get really good at cold email, what you can also do is help companies with affiliate marketing. Maybe you're going to reach out to influencers for them. You can help companies with podcast booking or help thought leaders get booked on podcasts. Because if you get good at cold email, now you can reach out to all of these podcasts and try and get booked on them. Do you see how that one skill can turn into various different offers? One skill that is invaluable in 2026 is automation and AI. So you can turn that into literally 1,000 different offers. If you want to get good at Claude Code, building apps with AI, you can join my AI Automation Insiders. If you want to get really good at building N8N automation, so you can help people with social media automation or chatbots, make sure to join my AI Automation Insiders. All of these are skills that you're going to learn to repackage into an offer that people actually want. Now, all of that is pretty obvious so far. Here's what's not obvious. Here's what other people aren't telling you when it comes to offer creation. The deeper that you get down this rabbit hole of a skill that you're going to learn, maybe it's email deliverability, maybe it's cold email, maybe it's AI, you're going to start to see. Your mind is going to start to open up to all of these little nuances of problems that people are having that you can solve with that skill. For example, you get really good at email deliverability. Well, there's a whole subset of people who are using Go High Level as a CRM and are struggling to get their warm emails to go to the inbox. So you might go through my Lead Gen Insiders program and say, hey, I got really good at building cold email systems, but I also got really good at deliverability. And I also learned that, oh, Jay does this thing with GHL where he warms up his subdomain and IP address. And a lot of people are having this problem because I talk to people. So I'm going to go find people who are using the Go High Level CRM and fix their deliverability, implement these systems. So the deeper that you get, what I'm trying to impart on you here is the deeper that you get in that skill set, the more opportunities you're going to start to see. So when I say become an expert in something, master a skill, I'm not just saying do one course. I'm saying go all in on that skill and it will pay off 1,000 times over because now you're going to start to identify the real offers that exist under that skill. Not the obvious ones that everybody else is doing, but the real ones that people are actually going to buy because no one's trying to sell them that thing. And it's the thorn in their side, their pain that they've had for a long time that nobody else has offered to solve. You're going to be that guy. And just one last thing about the nuances is the deeper that you get in the skill, the more of an expert you become, the easier it's going to be to sell. People can tell. People see right through your bullshit. If you say, hey, I'm an expert in cold email, let me generate leads for you. I'm the best. I can see right through your BS. The better that you actually get on this, the more educated of a conversation that you're going to be able to have with me as a business owner who can pay you a lot of money to do something. And if you don't know the nuance, I will be able to tell right away. So what you'll learn deeper in this presentation is trust is huge. Social proof is huge. The more that you know, the more of an expert you actually are, the shorter that trust gap has to be for you to cross it. Now, once you become an actual expert, this is going to make a lot of sense. Instead of just starting a marketing agency or a sales agency or a billing or operations or HR or recruiting, you can learn to break these words down into 1,000 different subcategories. So when you say you want to launch a marketing agency, I hear this guy has no idea what marketing is. If you were to come to me and say, hey, we do only organic social on Instagram. That's our thing. That's what we do. I now trust you a lot more because I know that marketing is not just one thing. Marketing is an umbrella that covers probably 100 different subcategories and things that you can do to market your product. SEO, organic social, paid social, Google ads. There's 1,000 different things that you can do to, generate business with marketing. So instead of just being marketing, identify all of the subcategories, the things that people do under that marketing umbrella, and your goal is to pick one, maybe two of those things that you're really going to lean in on and specialize in. Now remember, super important, if you try to solve a big problem, you want to solve their leads problem, you're going to be competing against people like me and people that are even bigger and badder and that have been around a lot longer than I am, that are probably way more efficient, probably a lot more skilled, and it's going to be easier for them to close that deal because they're going to be easier to trust. However, if you change the we do ads to we do ad creative generation for e-commerce brands, Now you're competing with a way smaller amount of people. You sound more authoritative because you're solving a much more specific problem for a much more specific group of individuals. And not only is this going to help you close more deals because your clients will now trust you more, but it's going to become much, much easier for you to get repetitive success for your clients. Because remember, if you do ads for everybody, now you have to try and do ads for cleaning businesses and marketing agencies and consultants. And the recipe for success for all of those different industries is going to look very different. So you're going to take on all of this business. You're probably going to do a mediocre job with most of it. You're going to get bad reviews. It's going to be harder to sell. So there's a fallacy that, hey, if I pigeonhole myself into this brand with this very specific offer, that there's not going to be enough companies for me to sell to, or I'm going to not be able to scale. That couldn't be farther from the truth. In fact, it's going to be much easier to sell the more pinpointed you get. So when you master a skill, you're going to break that skill into a set of micro problems. So if you say you get really good at paid ads, don't just do paid ads. Break it down into different buckets of what falls under that skill. What problem comes under that ads problem? There's lots of micro problems. For example, you're going to sell ad creative generation for e-commerce brands. You're not going to sell sales consulting. Instead, you're going to sell appointment setting for B2B SaaS companies. You get the idea. Instead of selling email marketing, you're going to sell cold email infrastructure set up for service businesses. The smaller and more specific your solution, the easier it's going to be to get clients, because those clients are going to trust you more. They're going to pay you more because now you're a specialist, and because you're solving one specific problem that they have and nobody else is offering to solve. So just as another example, let's break down the ad skill. Say you're really good at ads. We're going to break this down into maybe you're doing high-ROAS implementation and tracking, setting up the 3-point tracking for all of their ads. You're building a reporting dashboard. You're going to do their A/B testing and landing page optimization. You're going to do only retargeting ads and management of those retargeting ad campaigns. All of those would be much better offers than, hey, we're an ads company, especially when you're starting. Now, as you get more experience and your clients start to ask for more, because they will pay you more if you do a really good job, then you can start adding in other microservices one at a time. Now, here's the hard part that 99% of people don't want to do and won't do. So if you do this, I promise you, you're going to be successful. Instead of spending 10% of time on your offer and then 99% of your time marketing and selling it, spend most of your time validating the offer before you start selling it. You're going to talk to people in the industry. You're going to ask them what problems that they have, and you're going to do this related to your skill set. So master a skill first, find what problems that you can solve, ask the person in the industry, various industries if you can, what problems that they actually have and if they would actually pay for you to come in and fix that problem and offer your solution. Then ask how much they would pay. See, most people do the opposite. They spend a tiny amount of time on what they're actually going to sell. They learn a skill, they're going to sell that skill. Now they have to compete against everyone. They're spending 90% of their time forcing sales and forcing marketing, and they burn out because they're like, this is so hard. Nobody's clicking, nobody's buying, nobody's paying me, everybody's canceling. Well, business gets a lot easier if you sell something someone actually needs, and there's not a lot of competition in that space. All right, now let's talk about probably the hardest thing for new business owners, and that's establishing trust. When you're new and nobody trusts you, and to be honest, you have limited experience. So here's kind of how it works. The bigger your promise, the more proof that you need that you can actually deliver. And if you're brand new and you're promising to 10x someone's revenue, nobody's going to believe you. I see right through your bullshit. You don't have the social proof to back that up. And that's why starting with a much smaller, much more specific problem is smart, because it's easier for clients to trust that you can actually solve it. And this was probably one of the stupidest things that Alex Hormozi did. I got the book back here somewhere. $100 million offers, there it is. This ruined online marketing for a lot of people because everybody started to make offers that were too good to say no to. What this usually meant was offering these crazy guarantees that were unfeasible to fulfill on. And if you offer some crazy guarantee, one of two things is gonna happen. Yeah, you might be able to close a couple deals because now people have security that, they're going to get something regardless of if they trust you or not because it's backed up in writing. However, once you're unable to fulfill on that guarantee, you're going to get chargebacks, you're going to get 1-star reviews, and this will cripple businesses. So I really want to urge people, especially beginners, instead of doing these crazy guarantees to increase their sales, increase their revenue, instead offer to solve micro problems. And if you're going to offer guarantees, I'm going to show you how to do it. Now, this is one of the biggest tricks that I teach in my courses, especially if you're new and you don't have trust, you don't have social proof. This is something that you can do to bridge that gap and really close more deals because you're new. If you do what I'm saying and you find a nuanced micro problem that you're going to solve, then you're going to have a much smaller trust gap to bridge. See, people want to feel safe when they're spending money. They're pulling out their credit card. They want to be sure that the person they're paying is going to be able to get the job done, do it fast, and do a good job. If I'm paying somebody new to solve a big problem, how certain am I that they're going to solve that problem? Not very certain. So I'm either going to pay them less or I'm going to want an absurd guarantee in writing. But if I'm paying someone new to do something smaller or more well-defined, specifically like building an ads tracking dashboard, like that's not that big of a project. Well, now my threshold for trust goes way down. Combine that with this tactic and you're going to be able to close tons of deals. Here's basically the script that you're going to follow. You're going to use being new as a selling point. Tell the prospects that you want to make them a case study. You're going to work harder than anyone else because you need their testimonial. And because you're new and because you need their case study, you're going to do it for the lowest possible rate because you're building your portfolio and you'd like to use them as a reference going forward. It's honest. It builds trust. And as me, a buyer, one, I want to support you because you're new. I'm taking a small risk because you're solving a small problem and I'm paying you ideally what I think is a good rate. I used this same playbook when I launched my PR agency. Even though I never had a PR agency before, didn't know anything about PR, we were going to do it at the lowest possible rate and put everything into their contract to make sure that they got the best possible results because it was in our best interest to turn them into a case study and a testimonial. All right, now let's talk about the right way to do guarantees. We already talked a little bit about the wrong way, which is making absurd promises that obviously you can't fulfill on. If you promise somebody revenue or sales, one of two things is going to happen. They're either going to see through your BS and you're going to lose that sale, or two, they're going to take you up on it. They're going to ask for it in writing. You're probably not going to be able to fulfill on that, because the people that say yes to that are also not the ones that you probably want as clients. And you're going to end up fumbling that contract. You're going to end up having a very angry client in about 2-3 months who are like, you know what, I signed up for this guarantee. It clearly hasn't been hit. I need a refund right now. You're going to say, I'm new. I already spent the money. I can't give you a refund. Now you're going to get a chargeback and a 1-star review. And this is what ends so many businesses from the beginning. So yes, guarantees can definitely help you sell because they make the buyer a little bit more confident in their purchase. But there's other ways to do guarantees or to get around guarantees so you don't have to do them at all. The first main one that I like to use is buyback guarantees. So if somebody comes in, they spend 14 days working with you, 7 days, whatever you want to call it, and they're not happy with the results so far, you'll give them a no questions asked refund. This makes me feel secure as a buyer because even though you're not going to generate revenue for me, which I didn't believe anyways, now I'm confident that when I come on board, that person's going to kick ass for me for the first 14 days. Why would I want my money back if I'm super happy with that product? So it makes me feel really safe and it helps close a lot of deals. Now, obviously, if you're selling to people and they're taking you up on this a lot of the time, it either means you're selling to the wrong person or you really need to work on your offer. So even when you're getting started, this is a good thing to do because you're going to learn a lot about the onboarding process, about giving that client really good, quick wins, and you're going to get that refund rate way, way down, which is going to make your product a lot better. Now, this guarantee can also kind of suck. So the other thing that I like to do, especially on our higher ticket deals, is offer the industry standard minimum for that offer. So what does this look like? Well, do some secret shopping. Talk to some cold email agencies or ads agencies. See what their guarantees are. If they offer a guarantee and they're a bigger company, take that as a sign that maybe that's what you should do. And a lot of times it's going to be based on industry standards. So if you're coming on board to me as a cold email client, you're going to get at least the results of the average industry standard for that offer for that industry. And we always say, we're probably going to blow this out of the water, but we do it just to give you that peace of mind. That way you can get away with really low, reasonable guarantees. And sometimes people just like to see the guarantee. Just having a guarantee in writing will help them feel safer to buy. It doesn't have to be a crazy guarantee, but sometimes just having a guarantee to look at and to sign something in writing makes people feel much safer. So if you're gonna offer a results guarantee, do it at the industry standard, keep it really low, keep it reasonable so you can blow it out of the water. All right, now let's talk about putting the actual offer together. What are you gonna be doing? What are you gonna be selling? What does that timeline look like? So make sure that that is super well defined before you start selling it. That's all gonna be available to you in the offer creation checklist. Go through this, it's gonna be interactive, so it's gonna give you feedback on the way, validating your offer, making sure that you have it all very well defined, very organized. That way, when you come to actually deploy your offer, you've got all your I's dotted and T's crossed and you're ready to go. So this is what I call scope, defining what it is that you sell before you start selling it. So we already talked about doing guarantees that were a little bit crazy. Well, you can also make an offer that's not very well defined and also crazy and land yourself in a very bad spot. So what do I mean? Say you're gonna do somebody's Facebook ads and you don't know what the scope of that is at the start to the end. Are you going to do the creative for them, the copywriting for them? Are you gonna manage the ad spend for them? Are you gonna report to them? Are you gonna do the landing pages, the A/B testing? Where does it start? Where does it end? All of this needs to be super well defined in the scope of your offer. So before you start selling, define exactly what you're gonna do, the specific problem that you're solving, the timeline, how long is it going to take, week by week, what to expect. Timeline is going to be super important to set ahead of the actual sale. That's going to stop them from getting antsy when you're not meeting deadlines. Expected outcome, what is expected to happen at which stage, the steps and the resources needed. All of these are things that you should also put in writing. Not only talk to them about on the sale, but also have them sign once they actually purchase. That way, when they're like, yo, it's already been 4 weeks, where's my ads? You can point to that signed contract and say, hey, we talked about this. The first 4 weeks are prep, the second 4 weeks are creative. It's in the contract, we talked about this. So make sure that you have all of this defined as you're going into the offer development. Now it gets fun. Say you've defined exactly what problem you're going to solve, the exact scope of that service. Here's what you're going to do. Here's what's gonna happen in progression week by week. Here's what we don't do, here's what we do. Get them to agree to that. Now let's talk about some of the ways that you can think about pricing your offer. Is this something that's gonna take 3 months, 6 months? Is this something that's gonna be recurring? You're gonna do it for the month after month after month. If it is it something that you're constantly working at month after month, or is it something that kind of runs itself, like cold email or even ads? Maybe you spend a lot of time up front setting up all of their ads, doing all of their creative, running all their copy. And then once you've got a good converting ad campaign, maybe that monthly cost goes a little bit down for you. All of these are really important factors that help you think about your pricing. Now, there's 3 models that are really the most popular, and these are the ones I want you to think about. There's monthly recurring, so you have somebody on a monthly contract. They're paying you month after month the same rate. It's the simplest. This is the agency service. You're typically doing some sort of reporting for them. You're typically doing some sort of activity for them every month, and they've got certain deliverables every month. So a lot of people and company that I pay for this type of pricing. Most software is this pricing. A lot of agency services like ads are this pricing structure. And it's great because you have predictable revenue. If you've got 100 clients paying you $1,000 a month, you know every month you're going to get, roughly $100,000. So it helps you scale your business because you'll know what your monthly income is, and you just have to do right by your clients month after month. And the goal with that sort of pricing structure is to show them value every month. Show them their wins, show them the numbers, show them the sales, and just talk to them, update them, Loom videos. For anyone getting started, I do recommend starting with this monthly pricing structure. It's very basic, it's very simple, and all you have to do is show value month after month. The second thing to think about as an option are programs. So maybe you're helping build out a CRM for somebody, and this is probably going to take anywhere from like 3 to 6 months. What you can do is sell them a program. This is going to take 3 to 6 months. It's going to be $20,000, and they can use payment plans to break that 20 grand over the 6 months, or even do it quarterly. They can break it in half. The point here is they're not paying monthly for an agency service that they can cut off at any time, that they can cancel. They're committing to that 20K for an end result of we're going to have a CRM built out for you by the end of the 6 months. This is great because you can usually collect larger sums up front. You stop them from churning, so there's no churn, there's no cancellations. And then at the end of that program, you can actually sell a back-end retention offer to try and get them on like a monthly retainer at the end. So they pay $20K for 6 months, and then maybe they pay $500 to $1,000 a month ongoing for you to manage and be the support for that CRM. whatever back-end offer that you want to make for them to get them onto a retainer. Perks of doing this, especially if it's an offer where clearly you're going to be putting in a lot more effort up front, and then after that it's just going to be maintenance. Cold email is an example, ads is an example. To be honest, a lot of agency services can benefit from using this sort of model. If you're going to use this model, the program model, I definitely want you to think about what kind of add-ons are available and what kind of retention offers are available for once you're done with the program. You've achieved the result. Now you want to get them paying you monthly. You want to convert them into a monthly client thereafter. And if you do a really good job on the result, on the program, it's going to be a very easy yes. You can also just tell them up front, it's going to be $20K for 6 months and then $1,000 a month after for our ongoing support once this thing is built. The other thing I want you to think about are different levels. How can you give somebody the option to do like a premium level service? What can you do for them that's going to take things up a notch? Now, this can actually hurt your sales in a lot of ways if not done correctly. So what do I mean by that? Let's take my agency, otterpr.com. Let's go to our site and let's go to our pricing. Well, we go back and forth as a company on this all the time, and we try not to even show them the different options, because once somebody sees that they're not getting the most premium and they're paying you $5,000 a month, and there's a higher level, well, now they're gonna think, oh, like this isn't even like the best service that I could be buying, so why would I pay this much money? So sometimes having a lot of options isn't great, but if you can find a good, clever way to do it, like for this, we don't do TV. For this one, we do TV. We do a lot of additional things. So find out what those add-ons are to really separate the different plans. And if you can really offer a lot more value for a bigger price and turn it into a more premium offering, give them that option to upgrade. What also can help is add-ons. So take a cold email offer, for example. We're running your cold email marketing, we're building your cold email system. I'm probably not gonna upsell you something that should be obviously included, like mailbox infrastructure, but I might wanna upsell you LinkedIn automation to go along with your cold email. Like, it makes sense that's not included in the base offer, but adding that add-on, it helps to increase my revenue. And here's another little trick. If you're trying to close somebody on a deal, you can give them these add-ons for free or give them an upgrade for free. If you can, you want to avoid discounts and promos and coupon codes at all costs, because it devalues your service and they become a worse customer. However, if they think that they're getting a special add-on added for free, or they're automatically getting upgraded to the premium version at the same price, this is going to be a much better sales tactic than offering a coupon or a discount. All right, now let's talk about next steps and what you are to do from here. You're gonna get this offer creation checklist, and it's 17 steps. It's pretty intensive, but it covers all of the things that you're gonna wanna do in your offer. First, you need to identify what your skill is. If you don't yet have a skill, I've got 2 really good programs that are gonna help you master 2 different high-value skills that you can then turn into an offer. One is the AI Automation Insiders, listed here, where you're going to learn how to build automations with N8N, how to use Claude Code to build apps, and there's a bunch of different micro offers that you can build based off of this. The other is the Lead Generation Insiders, and this one's going to show you how to do cold outreach, do email deliverability, generate leads for other businesses, and there's going to be a ton of value that you're going to be able to branch off and turn into offers from here as well. So the first thing is identify your skill, and if you don't already have one, go and learn a skill. YouTube videos and courses. Rate your level. You should try and get to an 8 or above before actually launching your offer. What are you going to do to improve the skill in the next 30 days? You might want to practice it for yourself. You might want to go work with someone who's already doing it. Next, you're going to break that skill down into micro problems. So figure out what you've learned, all of the different things that you've learned, all of the different nuances that go into mastering that skill, and break it down into those micro problems. You're going to list them here, and you're going to pick one to focus on. And then you're going to think about who specifically has this problem. Think about the industries, the job titles. At what point do they have this problem? And then you're going to come into step 3, which is validating your offer. Do this, and I promise you are going to have such an easy time with marketing and sales. List the people or companies that you can talk to that have this problem. And then this is the easiest cold outreach in the world to do, is just asking somebody to pick their brain about problems that they're having in their business, or just ask them if they're having the specific problem that you want to sell. I've even given you the exact questions that you can ask. Then you're going to validate in this interview tracker. Finally, you're going to do some market research. So pick the problem, identify the problems, and then you're going to find the competitors that are solving that problem. This competitor analysis is going to make your offer so much better because you're going to realize, oh, wow, it makes sense that they're doing it that way. Or why are they doing it that way? They've been doing it for so many years, there must be a reason. Then you can go find the answers to those questions. Do the market research, figure out what the best guys are doing. Step 4, build trust, especially when you're new. The bigger your promise, the more proof you're going to need. So think about how you're going to position yourself as somebody new. Think about the social proof that you already have. If you don't have any, that's okay. You can use my closer tactic. And then what is your guarantee strategy going to be? Are you going to offer a guarantee? Are you going to skirt the guarantee? And remember to avoid BS guarantees. People can see right through it. Next, you're going to define your scope. Get crystal clear on not just what your offer is, what is that micro problem that you're solving, but now you're going to break that down into even further. What are the exact things that you're going to do to solve that problem? What specific problem are you solving? Define the timeline, define the expected outcome. What are the specific steps to getting it done? And what resources do you need to deliver this? These are the tools, the softwares, any third-party services or vendors. All that's going to come into calculating your cost. If you write this down, you're going to be able to use this as a sales tool. You're going to be able to give this to your team as an FAQ, and it's going to instill a lot more trust in me as a buyer having seen this. Finally, we're going to structure your pricing. What is the minimum viable offer? This is the basic lowest tier that you can offer. A lot of times I would say use this as a downsell. What is the premium version? If you were to do everything in your power with your skill set to give them the best possible result, that's your premium version, and that's what you should spend the most time trying to sell. What are some possible add-ons, and what are some possible long-term retention offers? And I've given you some pricing examples here that you can follow. And then finally, in step 7, you're going to put together your one-page offer summary. This is super important because if you can't summarize what you do in a couple of sentences, then you're going to have a really hard time marketing it and selling it. So you're going to put together that offer statement here, and I've given you some examples. And I've given you the formula. I help specific target market solve specific problem in time frame so they can desired outcome, and it starts at this price. This is the offer statement formula. Once you write this, you're going to be able to have this for all of your marketing and your sales, and it's going to be very clear, not just to you, not just to your team, but your clients and your leads, exactly what they're getting, exactly what it costs, and exactly what problem that you're solving. Then you can print your checklist here and save it. Save it because you're going to be using this for a long time. Now that's all I've got for you today on offer. I know that's a lot, and I know it's relatively ambiguous. The hard part is learning the skill and figuring out the problem that you're going to solve and validating it. And if I could do that for you at scale for all of you on a video, I would be the richest man on earth. But you need to spend the time researching, learning, testing, talking to people so that you can find your niche in the market and find an offer that's actually going to convert. Now, if you want the checklist, it's going to be linked down below. Just click on the link. You'll be able to download it and start using it. And if you found this video helpful, do me a huge favor, like and comment down below. And by the way, if you don't have a skill, you're like, I don't know what to sell because I don't have a skill yet, I haven't mastered anything, I've got 2 programs that will give you the mastery that you need. And if you haven't invested in a program like this before, it will be the best ROI on your time and your money that you've ever spent. Because now, not only are you going to be able to grow your own business, use these skills for yourself, which you're going to need, but you're going to be able to take those skills and build offers out of them. That's all for today. I'm Lead Gen J, and I will see you soon.